Hello, my name is Kaine Ruddach and I am the social host of MoveIt 2025 and I'm here with some legends of musical theatre and stage and dance and I would like to go down the row and introduce ourselves.
Oh, goodness me, here we go. Okay. Hi, my name's Thalia Burt. I am the founder and the CEO of an online training company called The Bulletproof Dancer. And I was previously on shows like Cats and Singing in the Rain. And most recently, I have been the associate choreographer on Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, work. Incredible. Go on.
I'm Stuart, Dawes. I'm a co-principal of the Brighton Academy. Previously to that, I worked in the West End for about 20 years in shows like We Will Rock You, Spamalot. I was in the original cast of that, which was lots of fun with Tim Curry.
Cool.
And I'm Philip Joel, and I am course director of Platinum Academy. I was in the West End in shows such as The Producers, 42nd Street, Singing in the Rain, and I am now a theatre choreographer.
Amazing. I should probably introduce myself as well. I'm presuming that anyone has my lore. Jesus Christ. So I have a musical theatre background. I was in Mamma Mia, the international and UK tour, and then I went into Heathers in the West End. And I've done lots of other little bits, but they're kind of my big bits. Yeah. And then I kind of transitioned recently into doing a lot more social media because you don't just have to perform on stage. You can perform in your living room apparently nowadays, which is great.
Anywhere.
That is
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Life's a stage.
Life's a stage.
So we're going to be talking about mastering the triple threat. Not sure how how qualified I am to talk about that, but I'm going to give it a go and we can ask some questions. So let's start by saying, why is it so important to kind of have a good, well-rounded training? Anyone can jump in for this.
For me, it depends on what you want to do. Mm-hmm. The industry's changed an awful lot. Like I graduated from Arts Ed in 2000, and since then to now, the whole industry is completely different. There's so many more colleges. There's lots more people at college. So the reality is, when you eventually get out into an industry, there are thousands and thousands where there used to be hundreds. So I think it's really depending on what you want to do. You know, if you want to be in book musical theatre, you have to sing, dance and act, or act, sing and dance. There is no room for dancers purely in musical theatre anymore.
Yeah. And also to go on from that, I think as well, with the amount of numbers of people there are in the industry right now. I spoke to a casting director and they told me there were 15,000 submissions for a musical in the West End recently.
No way.
Yeah, 15,000. And they were looking for an original cast, so a cast of 30. Oh, so just, to get an audition, you're like, oh my goodness, how lucky are you out of those 15,000 applicants?
And people will still complain when they're like, oh, I didn't get in the room. And I'm like, it's so hard though. It's hard. That's the first hurdle and there's many hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think one of the many hurdles is the fact that majority of people aren't triple threats.
100%.
And they're really good at one thing, and that just does not cut it anymore. When you are in a position where you do essentially have to set yourself apart from 30,000 people, being good at one thing is just it's
not good enough.
In the room. No.
Yeah, it's so hard. And what is one of the common mistakes a performer makes then when they're training with that? Like, is it that they focus on their weaknesses? Should they focus on their strengths? Like, what do you think would be your kind of go-to? What would be your method? I suppose I'm asking.
That's the key really, is choosing the right place for you. And there's not one brilliant place or one terrible place, otherwise institution wouldn't exist. The reality is that if you're a phenomenal dancer, my suggestion would be to go somewhere that works on your singing. In some places you get no singing lessons every week, sometimes you get one. There's only a few places in the whole of England you get two. So the reality is, if you want to improve on your singing, you have to go to one of those, and if you don't, you'll be behind someone because they get more hours.
Yeah, I always think put all your energy into the things that you're really bad at.
I agree.
Because that is what is going to set you apart. If you can master the things that are we allowed to cuss and swear on this?
Avoid.
Okay.
Avoid.
Well, we said a bad word. Not going to do that. If you do something that you're really bad at, in turn, you're going to be putting all of your energy into the things that,
Yeah.
And I think it's also training, I say to people who are great singers, for a movement call, we're not asking you to be able to get through a Cats call if you're like, I am a singer, but a movement call. And actually what you don't want to be doing is getting through all those singing rounds, and the last round is a movement call, and that's where you get cut.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's very few. I mean, probably I could name probably 1 or 2 shows in the West End right now where you just have to sing and that is it. But
it's so
rare. But even Les Mis, there's a waltz round.
You've got and you've got to do.
Yeah. And I think people in Les Mis can probably dance.
Yeah,
that's the reality. Is that even though they don't need to in that show, they probably can.
Also, they're not going to be in Les Mis forever.
No.
The whole point of this career is that you constantly have to be changing, evolving, and you have to be able to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at the industry and realize where you fit within it. So if you look in a program, nowadays are all online, you can see who understudies who. So the reality is, in an ensemble, you will still be understudying someone probably. And as you say, like my first job was doing Fame in the West End, and I was 20, and I was still paying at that point in 2000, I was paying £60 a lesson for a 30-minute singing lesson.
Oh my God.
And then 15 years later, I was in Jersey Boys, which I never would have been in if I hadn't have continued to working on my singing, because I was a dancer who sang. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's the work that you have to do once you've graduated.
Yeah, you never stop learning, do you? And you always end up moving the marker. I think as soon as you've reached one little milestone for yourself, you always go, right, what's next? I've ticked that off, now what can I do? Yeah. So you're never really satisfied with the work that you're doing. Therefore, you need to continue to invest in what it is that you're learning.
I completely agree. I was literally, as soon as I get a job, then you're like, oh, I wonder what's next. And it's like, at what point do I sit and enjoy this job that I've worked really hard to do? And then you're just thinking, oh, I'd like to do this kind of show next. Oh, maybe I'll try and do this. Oh, this is coming to town. Maybe I'll try that. And it's like, I think there is something to be said for constantly moving, but I think sometimes you have to enjoy it as well, don't you?
You have to be present, because it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, it doesn't last very long. They're the good times.
Comes to an end and,
I think that people forget to tell you that as much as we've kind of already spoken about how hard it is, it's a brilliant industry.
Yeah.
You know, like one of our graduates last year at 21 went to pay the first Dorothy in Wizard of Oz on Royal Caribbean, and she's earning $6,000 a month.
Jesus.
The reality is you can earn a lot of money and see a lot of the world, and the industry's changed now. You know, when I graduated, it was definitely like, don't do a cruise ship. But now the shows on ships are incredible. Like that's where the real opportunity is, and they've saved the industry, because without the cruise ships, there wouldn't be hardly any jobs.
I think there's still a bit of that stigma though attached to cruise ships, and I don't understand why. Because the talent is phenomenal, and it's people that have been West End leads that are then going on a ship. Of course they're going on a ship. Now. It's sunny.
You know, the creators working like MSC are like people that do the choreography for Kylie. Like they're massive. The creatives that are working on them are huge.
I think people confuse it with it being like, and this is not me talking down on it, of like a holiday rep kind of show, and it's not. Just because it's sunny, like it doesn't correlate. Like they are like phenomenally talented people that are on these ships, and they've been in probably more West End shows than a lot of people. Like they're very, very good. How would you guys balance quality over quantity? Because you could just be like thrashing one thing that it, like say for example, I can't tap. I don't want to tap. Personally, I cannot stand tap. So then how I then changed out in my timetable when I was at college to have extra singing, because I knew that would be beneficial for me. I knew that I'd never want to do a tap show. It was just not in me. And how do you what's your advice, I guess I'm asking, for like kind of managing quality over quantity?
I mean, I think it's knowing the industry that you're going into. I think, you know, I knew what I was good at. I knew what I needed to work at, but I also knew what shows and the kind of the choreographers out there at the time. I knew I was an Arlene Phillips boy. Do you know what I mean? I was like, that is me.
You are such an Arlene Phillips boy.
I am such an Arlene Phillips boy. But I literally did a Cats workshop with Drew McConey, and he's a very good friend of mine, but I literally went, I'm not going to go into Cats, babe. I don't have those hamstrings. Do you know what I mean? Never have and never will. So I'm going to give it, you know, your best Arlene Phillips instead. So, you know, I kind of knew the industry. I knew exactly kind of where I wanted to go down. I worked on what I needed to, which was at the time my singing voice. But I definitely knew my passions. I knew what I needed to work on, but I definitely knew my strengths as well, and what I could bring to the table over other people in that room, potentially.
I think also quality versus quantity. If you're doing too much of loads of different things, you're not really, it's that classic like Love Island, put all your eggs in one basket kind of thing.
Oh, come on, Love Island reference. I love that.
You're definitely on it.
But I think if you're spreading yourself thin, jack of all trades, master of none, right? You have to really be intentional about how you're focusing your energy in what it is you're wanting to do. what's your why? Like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to do it? And what do you want your ideal outcome to be? If you don't know those two things, it's going to be very difficult to produce quality because your heart's not in it first. Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing to try and
I think that goes back to what you were saying about what you want to do, because the reality is if you want to dance on a cruise ship, you don't need to go to musical theatre training.
Yeah.
Because you won't need to sing on that ship. If you want to be in a commercial dance company or a contemporary company, you don't need to go to musical theatre college to do that. But I think there is also a side that kind of goes, you know, again, when I was at college, I used to hide away from like voice classes or acting lessons because I wasn't a great reader. And I used to like pretend to be asleep and not necessarily go to the class and stuff, which happened quite a lot, which you don't get away with now. However, if you look back on it and you kind of go, wish I'd have really pushed myself on that, because even though I was scared of it, you're going to go into an audition and what are you going to get given? You're going to get words to read. And I found that really difficult in my first 6 months of graduating because I was like, actually, I'm really, really scared at reading. It wasn't my kind of thing. I just wanted to dance. So I think sometimes challenging those weaknesses, even if you don't want to be a tapper, the reality is tap's going to help you because it's going to give you an idea of rhythm. You don't have to be a brilliant tapper, but actually I think that having the ability to understand what that genre gives you is really important as well.
Yeah, there's something that you can take from everything that you do. And I think, as like you said, as long as you're intentional, I think that is the key word there. You've got to be intentional with everything that you're doing. There's a reason behind everything.
For sure.
Speaking from a creative's kind of point of view, what do you think about the saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard?
I agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of talent that's really important. And I'm sure you guys will agree, like, people that are born blessed are just blessed and they will find a way to work. But the hard workers are the ones that will always step up and make themselves indispensable in a working environment. And those are the people that you're going to want on a company.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Those are the people that you're going to continue to employ and want to spend your time with and want to invest your energy into. Talent only goes so far. If I know someone works exceptionally hard and they're a brilliant person, I'll choose that because I think it can be taught.
Yeah.
I mean, hard work, but also kindness, professionalism. I mean, the first thing that a lot of, when I talk to agents and casting directors about either my students or whatever, they literally go, they don't ask, are they talented? They ask, are they kind? Do they turn up on time? Do they come into the room ready to go?
It makes such a difference when you're in that pressure cooker.
It's the basics. I run an external agency as well. And the reality is you'll drop someone straight away if they don't turn up to their audition on time, if they don't change their phone number and you're trying to chase them. What you've got to remember with an agent is that basically they earn no money until you get a job. So if I take on a client from a college, I'm going to put in about 10 hours worth of work just to get you set up on Tagmin and Spotlight, check for your show reels, acting reels, etc. If then you can't be bothered to even put on your calendar that you're on holiday and you haven't told me when I get your audition, you will get dropped. And that's the reality that you kind of...
I mean, you're not asking for the world there, by the way.
No.
Just show up.
Well, they always say, don't they, book a job and then book a holiday. They always say that, don't they? That's what agents always say, don't they? But then they always say as well, book a holiday, then you always got the audition through, don't you?
It's classic.
That's always the way, isn't it?
Classic behaviour.
And you hold off for ages. You hold off and you're like, no, something will come through. I can feel it in the air. Something's going to come through. And then you book it, you're like, oh, cool, I'll change my flight then. I guess I'll change it.
Or you end up in finals that you never thought you'd be there for.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's always the case. What advice would you give to... Oh, wait, sorry, lost my point. What advice would you give on how to stay motivated when you're doing the fundamentals? So, like, I know quite a lot of musical theatre performers aren't a fan of ballet. Trust me, I've been going around asking everyone today, like, which dance style wouldn't you date? And everyone's been like, ballet. So how do you stay motivated in those things that are really going to help you in the long term, like ballet does? How do you stay motivated?
I mean, I loved everything about performing. As I said, like, I think that there was, for me, it was like the reading side of it. It was like the educational stuff that I didn't really like. But it's always got an ends to a mean. A means to an end even. But ballet for me is like, I love ballet. So I don't know, every part of this industry I enjoy and I'd love, and I think that rejection, I still had fun with doing it. Like, I think if you don't enjoy every part of it, if I'm honest, I think that you'll struggle, because you're going to go into audition rooms and it's not going to be your style. Like, as I said, We Will Rock You wasn't a job that I wanted to do. Love the music. Yeah. However, the style of singing is not really me. I love doing Singing in the Rain, but it's a career, it's a journey. You're not going to enjoy every single job.
Yeah. It's not going to be everything for you all the time. You've got to be able to adapt.
And I think, like, it's just coming to understand that you're not always going to be motivated, but you have to learn how to be disciplined. And as soon as you realize that, you stop putting so much pressure on this feeling, this sensory sense of motivation that you think is going to spark itself every now and again. Like, it's probably not, but the discipline is where it comes into play. I work in my company now with a lot of people, teaching them that it's really important to get into the gym. And you have to show up, and you have to be there even if you don't want to. Got to do ballet. And if it's not ballet, find something else. There's so many other various styles and ways that you can be challenging your technique and doing the things that you know you should do. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you don't enjoy.
Yep.
And I think as well, not even, like vocationally, like for me, it was always staying inspired by our industry that I was in. Like, you know, I was happy to queue for a £10 standing ticket for whatever show it was. And for me, if I was still in love with the industry, then everything else would follow. I think these days, you know, if you don't love the industry that you're in, then that's the sign. No matter how many classes you go to, it's time to...
No, I completely agree.
To move on.
Go back to the drawing board.
I genuinely don't think you should ever do this job unless you love it. Because it is so difficult to even get into the rooms. If you don't love it, there's probably not much point you being there.
I think always it's like you try and say to people, look, if you have prepared yourself the best that you can, so if you know you've practiced your songs, you've picked out your outfit and you go in and have fun. If you don't get it, then what else can you do?
Yeah, you've tried.
Do you know what I mean? You've enjoyed it, and you learn something from every single audition and every single creatives, and you know there's so much work that you can get in this industry that isn't necessarily performing. You know, you get one job and you'll come and be offered a workshop and get paid £300 an hour. There's lots of different things you can do, and I don't think don't get disheartened by any of it really, and just if you enjoy it, you should do it. If you don't, definitely wrong.
Yeah.
But the hard work's always worth it.
Oh my God,
because that reward of, oh my goodness, and I'm sure you can all vouch, like being on that stage, doing like actually reaching the goal of being on that stage in front of an audience with a standing ovation. I mean, I talk about it and I get goosebumps. It's one of the most incredible feelings in the whole world, but it does not come easily. And that's part of the reward, isn't it? Is that hard work paying off? Would
you say the hard work, because actually the job's easy. It's not hard to turn up to a theatre in an evening, do a show, and everyone go, yay! It's an easy job at the end.
The job is auditioning. I think is what it is.
Well, like, I'm obsessed with like the YouTube videos of Ariana Grande telling me about her audition experience for the Wicked film. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, that girl worked to get that part.
Oh my God,
like she worked for months with dialect coaches, singing coaches. I was like, she was not giving that to any other pop star.
She was not going to get that pride out of her cold dead hands.
She was not being kind to anyone. She was getting that Glinda role.
I mean, I think you could have done it, Philip, to be fair.
Well, look, I was the second choice. But I won't give it to Ariana. She's more passionate about it.
I don't love it like she does.
I don't love it like she. Give it to Ari. She deserves it.
That's so funny. So we've spoken quite a lot about training. What is your advice after you finish training? How can you keep it up? Like we've mentioned, like you were like about your singing lessons, and you're glad you did them because that got you to Jersey Boys.
I think it's networking. Go to the classes, get out there, find different avenues to meet people, go to every audition. You can't be at a stage in your career now where you go, I'm not going to do this, or would only do this. Those days have gone. Like even something like Butlins, it's a great job. You know, the show's really good. It's £550 a week. You need to basically let the industry decide. And I think by opening your mind up to lots of different things, the industry will decide where you fit. And sometimes that'll be in the West End, sometimes it won't be, because again, it's different in the industry now. It's not like you book one job, you book another, you get into the same room.
Yeah, I think being open and receptive to change is really important, because I think as soon as we graduate, especially, you get attached to this outcome of what you think your career is going to look like.
Oh my God, when I was finishing college, I was like, if I don't get into a tour or if I don't get onto the West End, I failed. And it's like, that is not the case.
No,
it's such like you have such blinkered vision, and then you're opened up to this glorious world where there's work everywhere in all different shapes and sizes.
Well, you go back to the 12,000 people. How can you get 12,000 people all getting that 30-person job?
You can't.
You can't.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
But also, I mean, for me as well, I think after graduating, it's about obviously building those contacts, knowing who people are. And back in my day, but like, as in now you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got What's on Stage, literally releasing breaking news, telling you everything you need to know. Who's casting it, who's the choreographer, who's the director, who was the casting director. But I mean, I tell my students, on a press night of a new West End show, 6 hours beforehand, they release like tickets that guests won't go to, and they're like 10, 20, 30 quid. And who's there that night? The producers, the choreographer, the director.
I think that every time I get invited to a press night, I was like, of course I'm going to go. Everyone will be there.
Yeah.
Literally. The team will be there, of course.
But that's what I mean. And actually, you know, I'm not saying, you know, grab them and be like, give me the job. But, you know, go up and introduce yourself. Like, it's making yourself... it's introducing yourself to the people that are going to get you into the room.
I'm also a big fan of people taking up space.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you deserve to be in a room just as much as anyone else does, even if your
100%.
ego is smaller or their ego is bigger. I find it really difficult sometimes because I'm so used to musical theatre people where everyone's like, no, this is me holding my own in a room, that sometimes when I'm around people that are what we call muggles, when they're just like shy away a little bit, I'm like, oh my God, no, babe, speak up. Like, speak for yourself. Like, you deserve to be here.
How bad can it be? People will always be polite. At least
people will always be lovely.
At least from my experience, and when you're meeting someone for the first time, if you are going to a press night or you are wanting to introduce yourself to someone that you've put on a pedestal for your whole life, I think the worst thing that you can do is stay in the corner and shy away from it. Like, it's only going to be as scary as that first word. Hello, my name is, and I admire your work. That's all it takes. And
people love to be told you love their work as well.
Love it.
They love it.
They love it.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
even if you don't, just lie.
Social media is a massive part of your industry now. And the reality is that you've got to show that you're a positive person, a fun person. Because if it's between two people on a job, they're going to look at your social media. And if you're the person going, oh, rubbish day today again, why is it always me? You won't get the job. Because the reality is people only want to work with nice people. They want to work with people that understand it's fun. You know, and I remember again in shows where some people go, oh, why am I here today? I'm like, come on, mate. Like, this is meant to be fun. You got that job out of all these thousands of people and you're just coming in moaning, and what will happen is your cast members will tell you to shut up.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because
nobody likes a moaning Myrtle in a cast. It's so boring.
There's always one.
Yeah, and there's always one. There's always who's the cast. And if there isn't one that you can see, it's usually you. So so I think positive mental attitude, especially because you're in the dark all the time. I find in a theatre. Especially if you're like sleeping in the morning, I find a schedule really helps when I'm in a show. What would that kind of look like for you? Because I have to get myself up in the morning. Yeah. If I'm not up, that shapes my entire day as being like moping around. Whereas if I'm up, get myself to a workout, do like little vocal warm-up in the morning, check how I am, whether I need to call out or if I'm poorly, do a little lip trill. And like, I feel like that kind of routine really helps. What would that look like?
When I was performing, or when like
give us your full routine. Come on,
I would say the gym, Pilates in the morning. But I mean, actually, I think sometimes even to a point, people. Like I think sometimes, back in my day again, but like, you know, going to the gym was important, but also going to see friends I haven't seen for a while, going for a coffee, going for like a nice little brunch as well, going to see a matinee. I think for me it was kind of having a nice balance of life rather than...
I think that is absolutely key. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I did any of that. I literally would wake up at like 12 in the afternoon. I would go down to the beach because I live in Brighton. I would then go and do a show, and I'd probably go out every night and stay up till about 1 in the morning.
That is wild.
Because it was fun and you were 20.
Maybe you're, people always say that. Like, I always speak to my friend Martin about it. He was on tour with Kerry Ellis, and she was like, she was out having a great
Kerry
time.
On Real Rocky,
She loves it. She absolutely loved it. She'd like love a drink, and I'd be like, I'd have no voice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just crap next to Kerry, which I am, fair. But like I don't understand that. I'm just not built like that.
It was a different culture, definitely.
Yeah,
we all went to college at 16. No one went at 18. There was no qualification. So you went at 16, you left at 19. My first job, I was 18 working in America.
Wow.
The reality is that it was a completely different industry. Like my whole, like working with, you know, students sometimes, and they're 22, 23. I'm like, I'd been working in the industry for 7 years by then. It's just a completely different beast. So I think that people do go to gym, do go to class. Definitely in your generation, you're a lot younger than me, but our generation was definitely having fun.
We were quite hardcore.
We were.
I love that. You lot are so more disciplined than us lot. So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I think it also depends on like what your job is on stage. Like for me, a lot of my career has been swinging and dance captain stuff. So as a swing, I was always terrified to go out. Well, not terrified, but the thought of going out until like 4 a.m., hitting that buffet breakfast at the hotel at 7. We've been there, we've done that, right? But at least I have. But the thought of then being called in and being like, BT Dubs, you're on for a double show today, and it's
That's
cats
what
and
scares
good luck.
me.
Like, no.
It's that.
Dance captain is difficult as well because you've got a responsibility. So you kind of got a really hard place between being in the company and working with the creatives, so it is more difficult.
Can't give a note that you can't take yourself.
That's true.
Yeah, that's so true. You have to
I
lead
was
by
never a
example.
dance captain.
Yeah, I think that's what always used to scare me, especially like if you're a first cover, it's the unknown as well, because it's not like it's your day-to-day schedule. So like you could be like, oh, I can figure out how much I can drink, or like how much I can like slack off a little bit in that kind of sense. Whereas like when you're a first cover, you're like, oh, if you're thrown on and you're hungover.
See, I loved not the hungover bit, but I love being like a first cover, second cover, and not knowing. For me, that's what I love about the industry. What I love about this industry is that you never know what's coming, and I really love that. I think that if you're a person that, again, gets scared of what the future looks like, oh my God, I need this to be my life, it's difficult. Whereas for me, turning up and whatever I was doing on that day, I loved that. And it takes a certain type of person to be like, oh my God, adrenaline when I'm like going on for something I've never been on for is like, it's terrifying because a lot of the time you don't have a rehearsal. Yeah. So you've done no rehearsal and suddenly you just come on, you do your job and everyone's around you. But that for me was fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wish I had that mindset.
So do I. I made the mistake once. There was like one instance and I will never forget it. It was on our Cats tour in Hong Kong. And I had gone out till who knows what time of the morning. It was a classic, stumble into buffet breakfast, it's just open.
So you did go out, Steve.
Yeah.
Now we're getting the truth, guys.
But it was Thai choir, others who do, and the lights come onto your face. And I just remember sweating, and the show had been on for like 3 minutes. And never again. Never in my wildest dreams would I ever do such a thing.
Are you agreeing with that?
Do you know what it was? I was watching Mary Kate, who's just finished Elphaba on Broadway. Have you seen her
I'm obsessed with her TikTok.
She's like, wake up, do 2 litres of water, do this. And I'm obsessed. I'm like, you deserve Elphaba.
Yeah, she does, yeah.
You're so disciplined. Like, bravo you. Literally, like, I don't know when the last time I drank 2 litres of water in a day.
I mean, again, training is different. It's like, when people have a steel technique or, whether it's like doing your breathing and all these exercises, it just wasn't there in our time of training. There's a lot more like just get on with it, come to class, do what you're told. And,
Hope for the best.
I think it was just a different discipline and it's completely different now.
Yeah. Look, if Kerry Ellis did the growling, no one but you, everyone else was thrilled. For the rest of the show. Good, she did the growl thrill.
100%.
So I want to talk about how to market yourself as a performer now. I know that's a very vague and big thing to talk about, but how do you choose audition material that suits you the best? Like, would you go for what's comfortable? Would you go for what's going to challenge you? Like, what would you go, I'm going to always show my top note? Or would you go, I've got these songs, I'm comfortable with them, I'm going to do them every time no matter what it is?
Well, I mean, I only ever had 5 songs in my rep list. I didn't need... I mean, like, I remember when I was auditioning for Carmen Gia in The Producers, I just sang Le Poisson from Little Mermaid. And they were like, oh my God, he's hilarious. That's exactly what we need. And I booked the job. And, I'll be giving you my best empty chairs at empty tables. And they're like, yeah, nice try, love. Get out. Do you know what I mean? So I think, I was a corner of the sky kind of boy. Do you know what I mean? Hit the top note. You're welcome. See you later. But only if it needed it, because, when I played Carmen, they needed a comedian first. Yeah. They didn't need a vocalist. So I think, I think some people have phenomenal rep lists, but I just had a really good solid 5 that were just suitable for most things.
I've used the same 3 songs for my entire
I think everyone
life.
does, don't they? Yeah. You do your training, and like we definitely speak about with our students, but the reality is you learn every type of musical theatre because you have to. You have to know what the styles are. You have to know what's right to sing. However, you want to go in and sing your best all the time. That's it. So the reality is, you know, I can sing a G, but not very well. I'm a bass baritone, so I'm always going to sing something with an E or an F in it and play safe.
Yeah.
But that's where my journey was. I'm a dancer who sings, who might cover. If you're going up for the lead role in that show, understand that Back to the Future asks for pop rock. Yeah. Even though there's 50s, 60s in there, but if you go and sing a 50s, 60s song and someone comes in and sings a massive pop rock song, you are literally going to get blown out of the water.
Yeah.
You have to have range, you have to have storyline. Acting is the most important thing. If you don't act through song, you won't book that type of job. But again, depending on the job, because if you're looking at Disneyland Paris, you don't need it. So every job is very, very specific, and you got to work out what you need within it. But I would say when you're training, you push yourself to the absolute max. Try and sing songs that are way out of your comfort zone. And then by the time you're graduating, you're really, really confident.
Yeah. Because then you expand.
100%.
100%.
But then I think the question I always ask people is what are you not doing that your competition is? I.e., if you're both up for the same role, what are they doing that's going to make the casting team choose them over you?
Yeah.
And I've got some incredible friends who are masters of it. If they're in the finals for a big lead, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just going to come back to it, I'm up for Alphabet, I'm going to green up. Do you know what I mean? But
please do, I'm sure they'd love it.
Here I am.
You played them all by now.
But like, do you know what I mean? Like, you give every hint of the character. You do your hair, you do your makeup, you do the accent. You do everything to make that casting team go, it's them, surely.
Yeah. I also think people are always like, oh, that's a bit embarrassing. Like, I don't want to do too much. I'm like, it's only embarrassing until it's not.
Big, bold choices.
You decide whether you're embarrassed, by the way. Like, that's a personal choice. Like, I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
And if I'm not embarrassed, you don't tell me I'm embarrassed.
I'm fine with being embarrassed.
I'm fine with being embarrassed. I've done all I can, and I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And I think people will always laugh and go, oh, they do too much. And like, then you'll get it, and they'll be like, oh, aren't they amazing?
Yeah.
Aren't they great?
I used to do a thing
in
dance rounds. I used to do a thing basically where I'd make a sound appropriate to whatever it was doing.
Yeah.
Or I would speak during the dance call, and what it did was every single person on the panel would look at you for whatever reason, and then you've got someone's attention. You've got to understand that, you know, when Wicked, going back to that, when it first ever auditioned, I remember being in that first audition, and there was around about 300 people in this one studio. I was standing at the back. You could not even see the panel. The reality is, if you don't do something really big and really bold to stand out, you are just going to get forgotten straight away.
But make sure your talent matches your bold choices.
Yeah. Or not.
That's always the thing when you see someone do like a really bold choice and then they like trip over because they've done something wrong. They're like, oh, because I was thinking about the bold choice rather than the actual routine. You're like, oh, slightly misplaced.
I think you've got to remember as well that it's not the best person that always gets the job.
No.
It's the what you have to do in each audition is get past the first round. Basically, don't get cut. So you do a dance call. You could be the 15th best dancer, but you'll get through that dance call because they'll take 15 people through. In the next round when it's singing, you might be the second best, and whoever was the first best dancer has suddenly become the 15th best singer, they're cut. So really, it's not about being the best in the room. I definitely wouldn't consider myself the best singer, dancer, actor ever out of any jobs that I've done. But what I did understand was how to get through each and every part of that audition.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing.
And also, I mean, I'm going to go kind of on the opposite, but like casting teams don't always get it right. Like I have so many stories of my friends that go for an audition, they get cut first round.
Oh my God,
the next day they change their top and they book it. And they're literally like, Han, I did absolutely nothing different. I just stood in a different place and wore a nicer top.
The outfits are different. What colour works for you?
Yeah,
how do you do your hair? How do you do your makeup?
Oh, I will always wear green or orange.
Really?
They're my
I can see that.
go-tos.
Well, orange is my favourite colour.
Yes, same. Oh my God, snap.
But it doesn't suit me.
Yeah, I feel like I always have the one colours that I go
Love
for.
that.
And my friend has a lucky audition top that she has worn, and it's got her a job every single time.
We all need one of them.
I think she's also just very good.
I do think that attitude of, and that's very stereotypical of performers, I think that kind of routine, right, I'm going to sing this, I'm going to wear that, you do make yourself feel really comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a lot of people do that.
So I want to talk about networking as well within the industry. How important is it to try and be keen, but not too keen, not too try hard, but also try hard? There's a fine line.
It's a very fine
with
line.
like, especially like we were saying earlier, when you're at like a press night and you see someone like, how can you navigate those like difficult social situations? You just have to just do it, don't you?
I think authenticity is a big thing. You can see right through people who are not comfortable with what it is that they're doing, but who are inauthentic while they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I used to be so incredibly awkward speaking in front of people. It was like
now look at you.
Terrifying. I know. Just having a mild meltdown here. Don't worry about me on the inside. But the best thing, and my mom actually told me this, she always said, ask people about themselves first. Because that opens up a conversation. People are always happy to talk about themselves, and it just gives you a second to breathe and think about what your next question is. And that was the easiest but best bit of advice that I ever heard. Be genuinely interested in people, and they'll be happy to talk to you about them. Yeah. And that's kind of the first way to just break the ice a little bit, which
definitely
it helped me if you're slightly shy.
Yeah, again, I think this just changed a lot. Realistically, I was terrible at networking, but we didn't need to network because, again, there was 40 people coming out of 6 colleges. So there was pretty much only 200 to 300 people actually coming out into this industry. Once you'd been into one audition and done well, you would be in every single other audition. Now that's not the case. So I think that networking is really important now. But if you've got a good agent, if you leave college with a good agent, you'll get in the room anyway. Yeah. If you sign with an agent that isn't very good, you won't, because there's thousands of agents out there, but most of them cannot get you into that room. If you don't get into that room, then there's no networking to be done, really.
So can I ask something controversial then? Do you think as a whole, with your experience, it is much harder and the standard is way higher now? Was it a lot easier back when you first graduated?
I think it's much harder now, but if I'm being controversial, I'd say the standard isn't as high. I think there's a huge gap. I think there's still people that are ridiculously talented, but I also think that there's a lot of people that aren't. I think that it's so good that our industry enables people to get opportunities because, again, when we were training, it was definitely a scholarship. I mean, I was one of 4 kids. I was a single parent family. I grew up in Felton, which is not a rich area at all. I would never have had the opportunity if I didn't get a scholarship. So the fact that degrees have come in and their funding enables that type of person. Yep. But I also think it also feeds into the other side of it of going, you could get there. And I just think a lot of people won't, if I'm honest.
Fair enough.
And I'm the same as you. Like there was 40 people in my year that graduated, and that was a big year. Okay. And like you said, there was 6 colleges. So, and I had friends that auditioned alongside me, didn't get in, maybe tried again the year after, didn't get in, and the answer was, all right, you have to go and find a different pathway. Yeah. And that's how kind of ruthless it was to get in. So you kind of, you were training with the Incredibles, but they were just your classmates.
Well, Drew McConey is a good person. I did a show with him, and like every single person that came across that floor doing a class at the beginning was doing 5-6 pirouettes. Both sides.
That is not the case now.
Easily. Like people were doing 8, 9, 10. That was kind of where that standard. And you're right, it's not the case now. But again, I think that the industry is bigger. So there's more opportunity. I think it's, again, just understanding where you fit within that industry and what you can do.
And I think going back to kind of the networking, I think it does need to obviously be taught how important it is, because when I've been on the other side of the table as a choreographer, and I hate this story, but it is the reality. We couldn't choose our seaweed. We had 2 amazing actors. Okay. And it went down to the Instagram followers at the end of the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who got it and who got first cover.
Oh, my God.
There's some pantomimes that are like that, and you have to have a certain amount of followers, and it makes sense in a way.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about it, like a pantomime is like a 4-week job, right? Yeah. If you've got someone with 20,000 followers, you're definitely going to sell tickets, because that person is going to help you sell tickets. If you haven't and someone's really talented, it might not do the same thing. I'm not saying all jobs like that, but it definitely helps. Definitely helps.
Interesting. I did not know that it was that. It was like got to that point now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I get jobs because of my following.
Yeah, I mean, I only work because of my following.
I mean,
and I don't have any, just to pick my dog.
But no, that's so interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yeah. Have you ever found that? Have you ever, like, when you've been doing Joseph?
I mean, yes and no. I think it depends. Again, it depends on the job. If you're looking for a seaweed, I can understand why that's important, or a panto when you're trying to cast a lead and sell tickets over a short period of time. With Joseph, I mean, we've been very lucky where we've had the Jack Yarrows, the Jason Donovan, Sheridan Smith, Alexandra Burke. So those were our names. Those have been our kind of like powerhouse people. Now, Adam Philippe and Christina Bianco. So they're Donny Osmond. The following's there. So the ensemble, you can really be selective on who you want to really carry the company and deliver the energy.
And the
that
show is also
required.
legendary.
Yeah.
So I think it sells itself as well at a certain point when it's
whereas for things like Cats, it was never about the following. It's like, well, can you be a cat and do you have a spine?
Well, I think
if you have a spine, you can't be in the show. We need you to snap in half.
But if you look at the way that show's selling, it's still selling really on a marketing strategy in a way.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of one.
Yeah, it's a different kind of, not a digital following kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I also wanted to touch on, which I just remembered that I want to touch on, when I was training, there was always the conversation about how training for singing and training for dancing they completely like juxtapose each other, especially when you get into talking about technical things like abs, support, and those kind of things. How can you kind of cross that bridge? Because I found it really hard, because I came from like a dance background, and you're constantly held no matter what. And then all of a sudden, because I ended up being more of a singer and ended up doing a lot more singing roles, you quickly find that like my body's not hardwired to do those like big belty notes. I was in finals for like Les Mis, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, like, I'm gonna have to really like sort out my technique. And that I struggled a lot with that, because I went to Lane, and like that's, although their singing teaching is phenomenal, you're built as a dancer there. They put you together as a dancer, and I really struggled kind of bridging that gap, and I had to do that by myself once I'd left. What would your advice kind of be for that?
I think you have to remember that your body's an instrument, and it's extremely smart. So the way in which we're trained, especially as dancers or even as singers, you have a way of adapting to what is required, right? You practice a really, really tough, big, belty song. Eventually you're going to get it, because those muscles know how to work that way. The same way when you're dancing. The way, I won't get technical about it, but the way in which the body works actually complements the way that you sing. If you're thinking at it from a diaphragmatic, a rib cage perspective, everything starts from the rib cage and from the diaphragm. If we're not breathing, we're not functioning, right? So I think it's learning your body, but also being patient enough with yourself to be able to go, I trust that my body's going to deliver what's required. I just need to put in the work, and I need to practice. Hop on that treadmill, sing that song at the same time.
Oh, come on, Beyonce. Yes, come on, Destiny's Child.
Give it gorge, or it's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? Like, but your body's extremely smart, and it'll adapt, but you have to be, again, willing to put in the work.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also, the educational side of how we sing and how we dance is so good, but I think the detrimental side to it is that I think people overthink. I think people worry about things too much. I definitely can't even remember any form of, real technical singing training when we're going in. You just sang and you enjoyed singing. And then again, some bits are going to be good, some bits are not going to be great. Yeah. And I think a lot of the time, especially for younger students, like young performers, I think there's so much out on social media now. I think the best thing you can do is to get off social media, stop listening to everything, and actually just enjoy it. Because I think that is part of the problem, that they'll see these things, oh, this person's doing that, I must do that. It doesn't fit for you. Like if I said, what do you all think of a Twix bar? Random, I know. But
Delish.
Some of you would.
Lovely.
Okay, so if I said to you, how do you look at a Twix bar? What's the first thing that comes into your head?
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
How would you describe it, though?
Oh.
Chocolate.
The perfect combination of crunch and chew.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
What about you?
Oh, I'm a white chocolate Twix fan.
Well,
Right, so all of you have literally described something completely different. Some people might think of like the two-finger Twix bar, or they might think about the classic kind of gold with the red writing. What I'm trying to say is that actually, when we're talking about technical dancing or technical singing, there isn't a one-size-fits-all.
Oh, definitely.
And sometimes people will get a note, and it will get in their head so much that actually they can't get past it. And so I think a lot of the time, just switch it off. Just have fun, just sing, just dance. Remember that your body will do it. And I think that sometimes we just get too trapped into, I must do this, I must learn to breathe. Well, you're breathing right now.
Yeah.
No one's teaching you how to breathe.
Yeah.
And one technique might be like still for you, vocal balance for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different things work for different people.
But also, I do think because of social media, I do think we also need to realise it's not about who can belt the highest.
Quality of sound rather than how.
And also, it doesn't matter what how high you're singing if you can't act it and you feel nothing about it.
That the West End is going a little bit that way. I feel like, especially for male parts, it's just like, who can belt?
But it's to do with the writing, isn't it? You know, a lot of contemporary musical theatre is big, high range and belting. Yeah. You look at legit musical theatre, it's not there. It wasn't required.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the material, and it depends what people bring out. And that's what basically, as Joel was saying, look at your industry, what is required of me. You can't say I'm not a pop rock singer, and then if there's loads of pop rock shows coming out there, you won't be in any.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be good at everything, but realise that it doesn't matter if you're not the best.
Yeah, preach. I completely agree. And as we spoke about a lot today, about being intentional with everything, how would you kind of advise a performer to market themselves on social media, especially when it comes to being a triple threat? Do you need to be showing, like, do you need your dance reel on there? Do you need, like, you singing songs, singing covers? Like, what do you think? Obviously, it's not a one size fits all.
I think it helps. I think definitely having some form of reel, like, again, as an agent, if you send something off to me and you say, I'd love to be represented by you, and you haven't got a reel, I'm basically not even going to respond to you.
Well,
because
you can't see anything.
Can't see anything.
Yeah.
And the trouble is, again, you go to some colleges and you watch some of their pieces, but there's so many people that you can't even see who it is. So the reality is, I think you do need a dance reel, you do need a vocal reel, you might need some body shots if you're a dancer. How important they are in the actual scheme of getting the job, I'm not sure, but definitely with agenting, I think it's really important.
I think it's very important when you're like in accordance to booking a job, because how you present yourself, we're still in an industry where we are judged based on what we look like, at least from what I've seen and what I've heard and the response people are getting from auditions nowadays. Our image is our product, right? So if you're thinking, how am I going to present myself on social media? Are you presenting yourself as someone that you essentially look up to? Because I know that if I'm on Instagram and something doesn't catch my eye, or something doesn't look great, or it isn't well put together, I'm probably going to swipe past it.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to double tap and give it that like. It's not appealing to me. So if I then look at my Instagram or my shop window or my product window, am I giving off
what I want to give
put
off
together what I want to give off types of vibes? Do I look castable? Exactly.
Yes, we said the same thing. Come on,
you get
twin.
me.
I think that's perfect as well. And remember, you are a product. That's what it is. However, the product now can be so different, which I love. Definitely in our day, that product was a certain type of thing.
Yeah.
It's very, very different now, and there is a room for every single one of you out there.
Yeah.
But there are also certain things you can't do. I always would love to be Fiyero and Wicked, but I'm 5'10", bald. I'm a bass baritone. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I'm probably going to be Dr. Dillerman. And I think just work out what your product is, look at the industry that's out there and go, okay, I fit into this, I fit into that. I'm not going to fit into this, and I'm okay with that.
Okay. And also just look like your headshot.
Yeah.
That's literally that's the first barrier.
Yeah.
I know, like I was with a casting director the other day, and it's make sure what your hair is like in the headshot. You're there in that audition room, because when you're literally going, where are they? They've already missed you.
I love it when people have like a brunette headshot and then they turn up with like platinum blonde hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, babe, like help yourself out. Come on. It's
And
so
that's really
silly.
problematic. Definitely in like TV and film, where it's like a last minute booking, you haven't got time to go and re-dye your hair.
Yeah.
You know, you have to look like what you are and make sure that product is looking exactly what it's meant to be. I think people don't realise on a casting side, the way that it comes up on Spotlight is literally a tiny little picture, and there's probably like 30 or 40 on that screen. And underneath it is your name, and then it says yes, no, maybe. And basically people click on them, and they might not even go any further than that headshot. So the headshot is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's worth investing the money in, not just getting one done by your mate, because the quality just won't ping out.
Yeah. And these headshot photographers do it all day, every day. They do know what to
business.
do. Yeah, I know. they must be
business.
raking the money in, because it is
100%.
expensive. But then again, if your friend is good at it, give your friends one a go.
Well, again, it's like, it's a product again,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, when people go, I haven't got the money for my headshot, I haven't got the money for my dance, or I haven't got the money for my vocal reel, my argument always is, well, why did you buy that Costa coffee? You know, don't buy 6 coffees a week, drink some coffee from home and save up the money, because if you don't have those things, you won't get into those rooms.
Yeah.
So it's invested in your own business.
Yeah. I suppose that also kind of leads to the question of like, then does it become classist? Do you know, with like money and things like that? It kind of like, do you then start pricing people out of the industry.
Well, I think
when things cost a lot of money like that.
I think it's a fine line, because you can, like, with the resources that we've got available to us now, like everyone's got Facetune, everyone's got CapCut, everyone knows how to do cool things on computers. That's what I've got assistance for, because
and the quality of
my
the
little
phones
pea-brain doesn't do that.
It's incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So get yourself some natural light, slick your hair back, put a cool face on, and take a photo. And you'll be surprised that you could probably also do that as a start out, book a job that is maybe not the West End contract, but it's going to be paying your bills, and then you can invest in better photos.
Or even if it's the photos or the headshots are the things that you really focus on, the reels and everything like that, you could probably do yourself. You can pay for a good microphone that you can clip on. Like, you can do that all at home, and you can be crafty with it and do it.
It's all things that you know how to do. Some of us are good. Like, I'm terrible with anything technical. My business partner does all of that. Yeah. So again, I'd rather pay that money. And then, fair. As you say, like, you are privileged in a way now, because we all get student loans, so there is money there.
Yeah.
It's about where you put that money. And again, you work maybe 36 weeks a year at college, but you do have 16 weeks off, and you could work then. So I think, again, do you want to work in this industry? How much you want it. How are you going to put into it?
And also, I think it's also doing your research, because I know there's a load of companies that have affordable, like, pay what you can headshots, pay what you can vocal reels, and so I think it's also just going out there and just seeing what's on the market as well.
Definitely.
But I also do echo that.
I think there's a few brilliant things where networking, we're going back to that point. I know we've kind of touched on it, but there's some brilliant kind of workshops and industry classes that are worth investing in, like industry runway and stuff like that. If you can't get into that big audition, spending £60 to sing in front of James Pearson is a massively good investment.
Oh, definitely.
If you then do a brilliant workshop, you probably will get the audition.
Yeah.
And so again, I think that those types of networking are absolute key. Understand who's choreographing it, go to their class.
Yeah.
Stand out with it.
I never understand when people don't do that. I'm like, use your brain and find your way in. It doesn't have to be the traditional route of getting a private audition.
I mean, I was downstairs earlier on, and Ashley Nottingham was given a Starlight Express workshop.
I'm crushing it, mind you.
Come on, Ashley, mate. Come on, still got it.
Giving it choreo gorge.
I was going to ask, have you got like a personal anecdote that where networking has directly led to an opportunity work-wise?
Only with friends, really.
Yeah.
Like, people that the industry is small, isn't it?
Yes.
So everyone knows someone who knows someone. And I think that there's been definitely times where someone's offered me a job without an audition based off someone that knows you.
Yeah.
Even like to talk about the college, like I was the original young prince in Swan Lake with Matthew Bourne when I was 15. And 15 years later, we opened up the college, and I was like, would you be a patron to the college? And he said yes, but he said yes to a 15-year-old boy, not someone he knew at 30, because I hadn't seen him for 15 years. So I think that's the only ones I can really use is kind of going, it's the friendships you make. And if you're a nice person and you're fun, people want to work with you all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And
people will always remember the nice people, and they'll always remember the bad people for all the wrong reasons. And they won't ever forget that when you're nice to someone. We were saying downstairs, we were talking to some other people, and we were like, what's the one bit of advice you'd give to any future performers? And I was like, just be nice, to everyone.
Yeah.
It pays nothing to be nice.
Well, I think it's people at MoveIt, we need to think about that. Like I was in the Showcase Theatre today, and I'm like, people watching their college and then running out. I'm like, come on, guys, like watch everyone, support everyone, because you're not against each other, you're with each other. And
it's
remember,
hard enough as it is.
Well, remember, they're going to be your classmates. You're going to be sitting here. Like, you went to Lanes, I went to Arts Ed, you went to...
I'm not from this country.
Not from this country, but somewhere else. But you trained somewhere.
I trained.
And I'm from Performance.
Do you know what I mean? So there's 3 different colleges or 4 where actually now you're in the same place. And I think that that's really, really key.
Yeah, like you said, the industry is so small.
Yeah.
And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as people progress in life. And as you get older, people leave, people come back and things like that.
Yeah. I think if you don't ask, you don't get is something that I've always remembered. And the only reason, and I still stand by this, the only reason I was able to get to the position that I was on Joseph was because after starting out in the ensemble, Joanne Hunter was our choreographer, and I went up to her at Preston and I said, I'm obsessed with the way in which you work and I want to be a part of your team. And sent a follow-up email. Eventually she was like, hey, I just need a little bit of help with the next auditions. I said, great, I'm there assisting.
Yeah.
But the dance captain couldn't make it, and then the dance captain became me, and then all of a sudden they couldn't be there because they were doing Cinderella. So it's like opportunity comes when you ask for it. And you have to be able to put yourself forward and go, I'm just willing to be here and willing to learn.
But you can tell when you go back to being genuine, even when you're describing that, you can see that you wanted to do that.
Yeah,
and I think the other side of it is that people will do that because they want that opportunity.
They're thinking about 5 steps down the line rather than just thinking,
different.
oh, I'd love to be a sponge in that room and listen 100%. To their wisdom.
And I think obviously just echoing about, you know, reputation and being nice, but also realizing the best person, like there's only one Philip Joel, and if someone else wants to be Philip Joel, I'm going to be the better Philip Joel. So there's no point trying to be someone that you're not. There's no point trying to be someone that you're next to, because what you bring to the table, no one can do that as authentically as yourself. So trust, love, be kind to yourself.
And that industry has changed. That's what I really love. Like, you can literally put your image out there. Like one of our grads, B. Terry, like you see them on like all the like shaved head, tattoos everywhere, piercings everywhere, done so much work. There are jobs that they will not be right for, but then there's also jobs that they are so right for because they've got that distinct image. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of trying to look like the person next to them. And then what happens is you have thousands of people looking the same and they won't stand out.
And I completely agree with that. And I'd love to end the podcast on this note of being kind to yourself, be the full you, and don't apologize for it, because as you said, it can really go in your favor. And that's what I think the industry is changing more and more into now, is that they want people to be different. They want people to stand out because everybody's different, and representation is so
That's
key.
what the world wants.
So the world wants to see themselves.
And our industry follows. Our industry doesn't trend set. It doesn't. It just it basically shows the world for what it is at that time. So we're never going to be the leaders with it. We're going to be basically showing the world as it is and making people think about things.
That's so true. I never even thought about it like that. So smart. Well done. That was great.
Try. Age.
Nailed it.
But yes, thank you so much for having a little chat with me today with your fountains of knowledge. But thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for...
Bye.
Get rid of the camera there. Just kept on going into the